Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 20th, 2026 Hibbing Public Utilities Commission meeting. All commissioners are present, and we'll call the meeting to order. And Luke, are there any adds or deletes?
Yes, Commission Chair Bayless, I'd like to add item 5F, and that is to the consent agenda, which is to approve commissioners to attend the Hibbing Chamber of Commerce annual dinner at the Hibbing Armory on January 30th at 5:30 p.m.
Excuse me, would that be 5E instead of 5F?
Correct. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll amend my
Is
motion.
that everything from yours?
That is correct.
And then Andy, we had an ad there.
Under old business, Chair, if I could add summary performance review of the general manager. Thank you.
Perfect. Let's see. Okay. We will move on to approval of the minutes of the December 16th, 2025 meeting. Wishes of the commission.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Sandstead. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't have anything for citizens forum, but I do have a quick announcement I want to make to the public. We've received some communications in regard to lead service line replacement solicitations from certain companies that might be mailing or door knocking and handing out material to residents. I just want everybody to know that HPU is working on funding those projects through the state programs that we have. We're working on with them, and if you receive those solicitations, you don't necessarily need to rush to hire somebody else to do that. We are working on packages that will fund those projects for you. It may take some time, so if you do have any questions or concerns about solicitations you're receiving and whether you should respond to them, give a call down to HPU and we can talk you through that. So, anything to add, Luke?
No, the shamelessness of marketers to take advantage of communities struggling to replace lead lines. HPU would not do that. And as Commissioner Bayless has mentioned, we are actively planning to have a comprehensive citywide lead replacement program. So if it looks suspicious, reach out and call our offices, and we'll be able to help walk you through that.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, nothing else there, so we will move on to the consent agenda. Item 5A, approve invoices greater than $10,000 and approve bills and ACH transfers dated December 11th, 2025 through January 14th, 2026. Item 5B, approve the payroll paid and overtime report for the December 23rd, 2025 and January 8th, 2026 pay dates. Item 5C, approval of fuel handler posting awarded to Gordon Terpstra. Item 5D, authorize listed requests for contributions. And item 5E, authorize Hibbing Public Utilities Commission members to attend the 2026 Annual Chamber of Commerce Dinner at 5:30 p.m. Location?
Hibbing Armory.
Hibbing Armory, okay.
On the 30th.
Perfect. Wishes of the commission.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandstead. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda carried. Moving on to financials and risk management, item 6A, approve the 2026 capital budget, including additional lead projects discussed at Town Hall. Luke?
Thank you, Commissioner Bayless. Commissioners, before you is to approve the capital budget and forecast for the next 4 years through that we've discussed at numerous times over the past couple of months. But in addition to the conversations we've had at the commission meeting was the important input we received from the public at the open house just a week ago, last Monday, on January 12th. And so from there, we went in, we looked at the available funding we have coming in here in 2026 and the incentivization that we have to spend through the grant awards funding and replace these lead lines, like you had mentioned, Chair, that are currently being solicited from vendors to have people fund these themselves. We would like to take advantage of the public funds that are available and do a lead service line replacement project. And we have targeted the 8 city blocks that are listed in the packet today, and I'll just read those out. That includes the 2000 block of 4th Avenue West, the 2100 block of 4th Avenue West. Both of those have a total of 26 service lines, of which about half of those are lead. And then the 2100 block of 4th Avenue East, the 2200 block of 4th Avenue East, the 2500 block of 4th Avenue East, the 2200 block of 10th Avenue East, the 2100 block of 11th Avenue East, and the 2200 block of 11th Avenue East. All in all, this will take up the $1 million of funding for the lead service line replacements that we have from the Department of Health, and so that's how we kind of target this. In addition to what you see here for these service lines, we will have an aggressive potholing schedule, which we will identify the utility side of the remaining service lines throughout the city of Hibbing throughout the next 2 years. And in addition to the lead service line replacements, since we're going in there, we also are recommending to replace the mains, upsizing that as much as possible where necessary to improve fire flow in those areas, and then making progress on our capital improvement plan on water as well. So with that in mind, happy to entertain any questions. We also have Andrew Brotzo from Bolton & Mink, who is here and assisting on the technical resources for the lead planning that is funded by the Department of Health.
Okay. Questions? Commissioner Hart?
What would be our top two priorities for the water capital projects?
The top two priorities that we have right now, I think, is lead removal, and that will be an ongoing priority for the commission probably for years to come, probably the next 10 years, I'd imagine. You know, and I guess this is good conversation for the upcoming strategic planning we have, but as I see right now, removing the lead is the #1 priority, and then 2 is making progress on our capital improvement plan that we have in place already to replace our aging infrastructure. So, yeah, those are the top 2.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking at the capital improvement plan here for all the utilities, including the water. So the water capital improvement plan is $13.8 million in 2026. The gas capital improvement plan is $500,000 for 2026. The steam capital is $3.5 million for 2026. The electrical capital improvement plan is $7.6 million for 2026. And the AMI, which started off a few years ago, is an $8 million project that needs to be finished. And we're beginning an $11 million project for the Southern Interconnect. That's a lot of millions of dollars for this utility that does about $30 million a year. You know, the way it sits now, I'm not going to support it. I don't disagree with some of these projects, but I think the utility could possibly be getting overextended, but that's my opinion. But I just wanted to put an explanation out there. Because 2027, the capital improvement plan is pretty substantial also, and it kind of continues. And I don't want to be the commissioner that put a lot of debt on our ratepayers long into the future. I think it needs to be looked at again, but that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? So I will echo what Commissioner Hart said. I do agree. I think we're really heavy on this, especially, I mean, the water main. I understand we have to get lead service projects done. Do we have an explanation as to where that money's going to come from? Do we have some outside funding agents that we're not presenting up front that are going to pay for the majority of this?
Short answer is yes. I mean, there is a big chunk of this that will be funded through debt, through the PFA, which is the low interest debt. But for the couple of really big priorities, we have $12 million in the bonding bill for 2026, which is carryover from 2025 when we weren't funded. That's $12 million from the state of Minnesota to help fund water infrastructure. We have $1 million from the federal earmarks that we have received news in the last week that we were awarded, and it passed the U.S. House of Representatives $1 million for water infrastructure, thanks to Congressman Stauber and then also Senators Klobuchar and Smith have included that in the Senate version of the budget bill, which hasn't passed the Senate yet, but overall Republicans, if you remember civics, in the House, who control the House of Representatives, have a big say in how the, especially with coming from the party of the president, have a say in how that gets. So it's very high likelihood we will get the $1 million from the U.S. Congress through earmark appropriations. We also have, a big part of the last year was funded through the $5 million we got from the state legislature for the 30-inch water line, 30-inch water main replacement project. So we are making a lot of progress to get towards that through grant funding. We also have $275,000, I believe, from the CDBG, kind of some smaller grants, but every little bit adds up. So we are making dents in that. Unfortunately, the age of our water infrastructure does require outside funding, and our residents, as you are well aware, Commissioner Hart, and I agree with you, can't afford to pay for this all on their own. That's why we need the public support through bonding, through other areas to help buy down the cost of that. But unfortunately, our city water rates are not high enough to qualify for just regular grants from the Department of Health, that we would have to go through these outside means of raising funds or take on the low interest debt from the PFA.
Okay. So ultimately, we're looking at $6 million of water main replacement that's gonna fall on debt service to pay that off?
That's correct, yep.
And was that the original debt that we planned on placing for the year?
It is. Because of the outside grant funding, we aren't expecting to take on any additional debt that we already haven't planned on. I forgot to mention the $2 million that we expect from the Department of Health for the lead service line replacement too. We need to add that in there as well. So that $6 million is the anticipated debt load that we have in the IUP, which stands for Intended Use Plan, approved by the Department of Health for the next cycle of PFA.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, well, if there's nothing else, I mean, do we want to just vote on this one and go yay or nay, or do you guys want to talk about that further, given the spending adds? And we haven't had the full budget with the full capital improvement with these numbers on it until the packet, right? I mean, this was the,
That's right. Everything that we've reviewed at the previous commission meetings didn't have the additional lead service line project in it.
yeah,
So,
yep,
I personally would like a little more time with this.
okay. Okay. And I think if we're gonna do that, I think, it might be valuable for maybe Andy to come, to that meeting that we have next and recite maybe a little more thoroughly the funding mechanism and get down to the bottom of how the money's gonna work for us. Because I think when we had our meeting with MDH after the lead service town hall, we had some really good information, so maybe we need to compile some of that info on paper and really talk through that and figure out where the money's gonna come from.
Yeah, just to echo that comment completely, if you could have a list already of like the funding sources that are known, and then maybe separately the ones that are anticipated but not yet secured or assured, either through legislation or, we're keeping our fingers crossed, but there isn't a guarantee yet.
that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is a very important conversation, and it's important that the commission fully understands everything that's there. So, happy to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have options here. We can just remove this, or we could table this, and then we have to vote on it at the next meeting if we tabled it.
I think Luke has a response.
I do have one thing, and that is to be certified for this year's lead service line replacements. Plan approval has to be done by March 31st by the Department of Health.
Okay, which requires our capital improvement plan to be approved.
Which would require the commission approving what's in the budget more or less so that they can approve like plan finalization.
Yep.
So that would
Yeah,
be the one.
so we can get a roadmap to that at the next working session?
Yes.
And then approve it.
And then
in
approve it at the,
February.
or even at that session, because we do vote.
You can take
Yeah.
action if you need to.
That sounds good, and I'll follow up with engineers outside of this just to confirm the requirements, because I think, just making sure that that's enough time to create the plans for submittal by the 31st of March. So I'll follow up, and if there's any issues, I'll let the commission know.
Okay, okay. Good. Okay. So what's our mechanism for that item?
So, one, you could just not address it at all, other than this presentation tonight, but take no action on it.
Okay.
Number two, you could table it, and then you are taking it at your next meeting. You needed to take it up as it's been presented here. Because it's a little bit of a moving target, Chair, I might recommend you just not take any action tonight. No one made a motion on it, no one, it turns into a discussion item under the general manager's presentation.
Okay. Okay, I like that idea better. So we'll just take no action on that item. Thank you. Let's move to item 6B, approve engineer design and support services for capital projects. Luke?
So this, there's a couple of things that I have to just kind of talk about in light that we don't have the approved capital budget yet, so that, you're full aware that we didn't approve the capital budgets. There are things that I'll recommend that we get going because of deadlines, with or without that. I'll make the recommendation. It's up to the commission to decide. And then we'll just kind of step on through as we go along.
Okay.
Okay. So I think the first item would be 6BI, if I'm,
You want to move right into that?
yeah.
Okay, so bar engineering in the amount of $28,500 for 2026 environmental support.
This is, Commissioner, thanks for addressing this. This is regular environmental support for maintaining our air permits and reporting to the Minnesota Pollution Control reporting. I would recommend approval of this, as this is a routine compliance requirement. And they've done a really good job for us. And so in here, we have the TRI reporting, air emissions inventory, greenhouse gas, and stack test support, as well as other hazardous waste compliance.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B2, Bolton and Menk for design engineering bidding. I'm guessing this one's going to be a,
Yeah, this is the one that requires plan submittal by the 31st of March.
Okay.
I'm going to follow up with the representatives at Bolton and Mink after this meeting tonight, and just to see how that stands following this, and I can get back to the commission.
okay.
But
Perfect.
I think it's really important that we get that timeline known so we don't miss out on any funding opportunities.
Okay. We'll move to 6B3 then. 6B3-2, Greenhaven Phase 1.
So Greenhaven Phase 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped on 23rd Street. I apologize for that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
B31, East 23rd Street Phase 2,
Okay.
in the amount not to exceed 180,000.
Yes, I do recommend moving forward on that. I believe we're kind of far into some plan work already with the city that requested to get bid specs in by a certain date so that they could go out to bid that project. So that work involves both the steam as well as water main improvements.
Okay. Wishes of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Sandsted. Any discussion? Commissioner Hart?
I guess my question would be, is the $180,000 amount is greater than $175,000, which we would typically do in a public bid. What's the exception?
So, Commissioner Hart, I think the question might be here is, because it's for engineering services, like professional services versus contractor services, I think that might be the distinction between the two, whether you needed to go out for bids on engineering services as compared to a contractor building the design. As in professional services, typically you don't have to follow the uniform municipal contracting law as compared to,
Like construction management at risk or construction management services, or is there something else that I don't know about?
so it's not a construction management at risk. This is simply a design by an engineer, and that's considered, I believe, a professional service, and therefore wouldn't, I believe, fall under the uniform municipal contracting law.
Is the preference to go out for a bid instead?
I don't know the details of the statute on this.
Okay.
For municipal contracting, and just, maybe it should be a good practice to start bidding this stuff out if it's over $175,000 in my opinion. I don't have nothing against Bolton and Mink, I think they've been doing a good job.
Yeah.
I just trying to rein things in.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that
Yeah.
too. I mean, we've requested, I think with Luke a couple of times, that we start bidding some of these out and get back to the practice that we used to use.
Absolutely, and if I could, Commissioner, I 100% agree that we need to go out and do some more competitive rates analysis for all of the work we do, whether it's required by statute or not. That's just good practice. The issue that we have with some of the design work is a lot of the design work that was already for the 23rd Street project that we did last summer already contemplated, and so there's already kind of progress made on some of the design work for this phase of it. And then when we have, this is only for design services, this is not for construction management or any kind of construction oversight. With the new engineering manager starting in early February, so in less than 4 weeks, Paul Scabina will be starting as our engineering manager, and I'd like him to do the assessment of which skills do we outsource, which skills do we maintain in, and have him add that into the overall plan and start with the construction support this summer with kind of a full eyes wide open approach of which people we're hiring for which things. So my recommendation is to approve Bolton and Mink for the design work, due in a large part because of the design work that's already started on the project through the last year's project and the short timeline.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we have maybe clarification around that question by our working session?
Yes.
We can do that, that would be great. I think that's a really astute question, and we should look at exactly what our policies are, say versus a statute that governs that. Thanks.
Okay. I guess did we have a motion and a second for that already?
We
I think
did.
we did. Okay. Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Do we have a timeline on that one?
Yes, because the city's already preparing a bid package. They're waiting for a concept. So,
Chair, I apologize, I
Yeah.
didn't hear the vote, but is it?
It was 2-2. I haven't broke the tie yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just using my time to find as
Thank
much
you.
information as I can,
Thank you.
as long as I'm allowed to do that, yeah. I mean, are we setting back if we don't pass it, we're setting back a deadline, or what's the?
we're holding the city back on the bid spec, or taking out water main from the 23rd.
I'm gonna vote in favor, but I want to deep dive into our bidding processes and make sure that we're not doing this over and over again. And I don't want to, but I'm gonna. So, I vote in favor. Motion passes. Moving on, B32, Greenhaven Phase 1 in the amount not to exceed $125,000.
Thank you, Chair Bayless. In light of the conversation, I would probably withdraw this until we can talk about this at the working session.
Okay. We will move on to B33, 30-inch water main Phase 3 in the amount not to exceed $90,000.
Yes, I recommend approval on this one because we are live with planning for the phase, the change order that we've already awarded to Geislinger for completing the 30-inch work, and that work is 100% funded by the mineral article funding. So I'm recommending that we approve the 30-inch based on the outside funding we received as well as the timeline.
Wishes of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hart,
Second.
support by Commissioner Stokes. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B34, Cobb Cook Phase 2, development in the amount not to exceed 75,000.
This is the water main extension that's required for the second phase of the HRA developments along Highland, what they're calling Highland Drive. The existing water main there will serve Cobb Cook Phase 1 or Highland, the first development, with the second development for New Haven Drive, we will require to upsize the water main there. So I would tend to recommend approving this one, but I don't think the timeline is critical if the city does not want to. I think the timing is independent, so I'm going to withdraw this one for the time being
Okay.
until we can discuss it in February.
Okay. Move on to B35, lead corrosion control design, engineering and oversight not to exceed 38,750.
Commissioners would kind of want this one approved, but I can hold off until February, I believe.
It just ties into the other
It
capital
does.
planning.
It does.
Okay. Then we will move past that one as well. Okay. Moving on, item 6C, approve procurement of electrical distribution, G&W Trident multi-way switch from border states in the amount of $77,165,000.93.
Thank you, Chair Bayless. Commissioners, ahead of you is to request the procurement of a switch from border states, who was the lowest quote of the two vendors that supplied a quote to this, and this allows more protection of the load for our new substations, Hall, Rust, and Mahoning substations that we energized in October. So this was included in the budget for both of those as part of last year's capital improvement plan.
Okay. Wishes of the commission.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Hart,
I'll second.
support by Commissioner Stokes. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6D, award AMI requests for proposal. We have 3 of them. We'll go with the first one, RFP 25-09, AMI meter installation for the electrical meters. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Chair Bayless. Commissioners, ahead of you, as was introduced by the Commission Chair, is the individual awards for the AMI RFP that was done, and I'd like Ms. Zoller, I'm sorry, Heitela, to approach the podium, and Jill has been supervising the AMI bid solicitation process as well as the recommendations here. So with that, Jill, if I could offer it over to you.
Chair, Commissioners, thank you. Is there any questions that you specifically had? I guess first off the top, I can just correlate to the fact that the review team took and looked at all of the bids. We did further indications to each of the vendors and got some clarifications. With that, the prevailing wage and lowest bid presence that you did see in the packets really had no weight effect on how we made our actual recommendations, and we still stand by our recommendations that you see in the bid packet tonight.
Okay. So we'll just specifically take up the first one. You have a recommendation to award the proposal to Hunt Electric in the amount of $793,821.60. Okay. Any questions? Commissioner?
Why aren't we taking low bid?
In this particular one that we evaluated based off of selection criteria specifically in the bid packet, and part of the requirement was to give past practice what their customer service rates were and their experience, and we did not receive any on them, so they did receive a lower qualification for that.
They didn't have qualifications, you said?
They did not list any or submit any in the bid, no, they did not. They didn't list any of their previous jobs that they've done in this sort or give any type of allusion to what their actual past
Thank you.
criteria was for doing AMI meters or those types. So we did not have a score for them on that particular one, which put them lower.
Who made that decision?
I'm sorry?
Who made that decision that they didn't have qualifications?
All four of us in the review, based off of the selection criteria that you can see in the bid that is listed. If you go through here, we have a selection criteria that they do need to give their technical expertise pertaining to the job itself, and they did not list any or provide any, where the other vendors did. So we gave them a higher score based off of that.
I see. Mr. Chair, is it all right if I pass a few things out?
Absolutely, yep. As long as we have some for the public as well, it's good to share that. Or at least one to give to Andy, right, to put on record?
Put up here.
In the bid packet itself that was on Quest, they just actually submitted our actual contract and put the dollar amounts in there, but they didn't give us any further information on them. And they've received per our selection criteria, level of customer satisfaction on performance of previous projects, 10%, and specifications and technical information, 20%, and we did not receive any from them. We just received the numbers on the line items, that is it.
Do you have some info you want to
Oh,
speak
I'm
to
sorry.
on that?
Yeah, what I passed out was this was an online bid through Quest CDN. It's a process to bid online. It's used by government agencies all the time. It's very thorough. You can't submit a bid unless you fill out all the information. So the low bidder did fill all the information, provided a bid bond, licensed electrical contractor, so he would be qualified to remove and install meters. So I don't know that there'd be any reason not to award it to the low bidder. I'm open to any questions from any commission members, any concerns.
So I'm just going to add, I actually reached out to the contractor, and I met with Jill yesterday briefly.
did.
And she explained to me how
Correct.
she came to the conclusion and the team came to that. I respect that decision.
Absolutely.
But I do agree, he filled out the proper numbers. There was some confusion when Jill followed up about the numbers on maybe what exactly they were bidding, but when I went back and did the math, they bidded out the number of meters and the dollar amount that was total on the bottom added up. When you added it up by how much they were charging by meter, I also followed up with the contractor today just to make sure, because we had discussed there was concerns about them maybe meeting the end of August. He's fully confident that they have the ability to do that, and I also agree we should be awarding this to the low bidder based on that. They're confident they can get the work done, and it's gonna be about a $500,000 difference. I think that's a pretty sizable difference, so.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Chair, so if Hart Electric was bidding it, it'd be very close to the price that is the low
Yeah.
price.
Okay,
I mean, that's kind of where I expected this, it's where I expected this project to come in.
okay. I'm not gonna make a motion for you, but I'm sensing there's a motion in our future.
I'd make a motion to award it to the low bid.
Okay, so, and that was Iron Range Electric was the low bidder. And the amount on that bid was $295,456.59. Do we have a second?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Babich.
Mr. Chair, that number is different than what's in the packet.
What's in the packet?
295, 510. And it's not a big difference.
Oh,
but-
it's an extra meter, yep. So
Yes, when we reviewed, just to clarify, we thought with those two line items not filled out in the bid we initially received from him, he did send us an additional information after, but we didn't think that he had all of them filled out. So that is where that clarification came in when we met with Commissioner Bayless.
Okay, so the number is this one or that one?
The one that is on the form that we talked, where it's all itemized line by line, that is their actual number that we should be using.
Okay,
The number you said.
And he
okay,
corrected the line items in that as well,
okay,
so.
perfect, okay, good. So then we have that. Any further discussion? Luke?
I just have one question, and that's, just obviously the commission has the ultimate say here. We do have a team of 4 people internally that have reviewed these and made a recommendation. The commission it's the commission's prerogative to decide to award somewhere else. And just a kind of a point of clarification, I think one of the major concerns, at least what I heard, was that they wouldn't be able to meet the timeline. Is that correct, Jill?
No, that's on the water.
That's the other one, okay,
Yes,
there's a couple of
yes.
these. So what was the primary concern, and is there an opportunity to make sure, I mean, because I would expect the commission.
It was technical abilities and that we didn't get any of the, previous experience or any documentation as we did in the other bids. So that's
Okay.
how we interpreted at the time that we reviewed
Okay,
it.
so it was kind of a completeness
Correct.
of application decision.
Yeah.
So I think, so with regards to that, I just, as we go forward and manage the project, I just want to make sure that we're
Right.
prepared,
Correct.
for you to
And we
have-
didn't have additional information, as Commissioner Hart did, as we're kind of just going off of the bid information, not knowing them, putting them all on the level playing field. So
Okay.
we didn't have that additional information.
Yeah, and I will say, Jill, I appreciate your time yesterday. You
absolutely.
gave a thorough explanation, and I have no issues with the process they used, but I mean, to us, we have to, sometimes we gotta dig a little deeper, I think, when we have that big of a cost savings, so,
Correct.
maybe we need to have some conversations around how we're scoring those. If the commission has a different view, we can work that out too, so.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, the process was what it was. I think we did talk about timeline being part of the issue.
We
and-
did,
And
but-
again, I reiterated with the contractor, they're on board with the timeline, so. Either way, I think we're good, Luke. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the next RFP 25-10, so that's D2 AMI meter installation. This one was for the water meters to Core and Main in the amount of $1,439,376.
Thank you. And again, for this one, we took it as the criteria scoring. They did include a 12-month timeline on page 14 of their bid, and they also gave a few additional scope of work, additional charges. So we took that as them would not be adhering to our initial documentation and technical scope of work that we'd put forward, which could cost additional monies, is how we were viewing this when we looked at them together. They also add a daily rate once they reach a certain percentage, so we took that as that could be an additional cost as well.
Okay, any questions, Commissioner?
Could you remind us again why you're choosing the higher bid over the low bid?
Yes.
Could you reach into the speaker a
Oh,
little more?
I'm sorry. We took that on when we were looking at the level of customer satisfaction and performance on previous projects. They met that. However, underneath the specifications and technical information, they included additional charges that would be charging to us under their scope of work. So given those dollar amounts, and some of them were pretty significant, we felt that these could increase our contract, and they did not adhere to our contract scope of work. They added to it.
They don't get to do that.
Well, and that's what they put in here with their submitted bid, that they would have additional. So they didn't adhere to our technical
They
and our
they
scope
don't
of
get
work.
to write their own specifications and contract.
They added
fill
them
out
as additional
the-
charges.
They fill out the bid form, they provide a bid bond, and they abide by the contract.
Correct.
They don't get to send you more information that says, this is what we want to do and this is what we're going to do.
So that's how we scored them based off the selection criteria, because they did add in more.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, public bid process is pretty clear. You don't get to change your mind after the fact or send more information in with demands or anything like that. It's a public bid.
And that's why we went with the other person.
And, maybe they found out, oh, we left a bunch of money on the table, we're gonna back out of it.
Right.
Yeah, no. Well, they can, but they'll
They
lose
can.
their
Correct.
5% payment.
So, I have a question about that. Are you saying there's not a mechanism for there to do that in the bidding process? Or Jill, how did we get the rest of that? Because I saw the
It was
language
within the
that they
bid.
put.
Yeah, it was within their paperwork in their bid. They gave these additional information. It's in their
They
packet.
don't get to add that when they submit their bid through Quest CDN. You can't add anything. You submit your bid and you submit your 5% down,
Okay.
and that's your bid. That's it.
Mr. Chair, that was my
Yes.
question. Are all of these bids that we're looking at, are they all going through that same process of Quest?
Correct, correct. And when they upload, they can upload their packet, and that's how they did it. So when we look and we download the packet that they submit and Quest is king.
So it was in the additional paperwork that they are
Submitting to us.
putting different things, but on the actual bid itself,
It's part of their packet.
they had the low bid.
They did not have the, or HydroCorp had the low bid, yes, correct, I'm sorry. But with the additional items that they listed in their packet, because we got a full packet from them as part of their bid packet, these conditions are listed in there. And
Is
we
it-
reviewed them.
Is it typical for a contractor to add additional paperwork or upload additional paperwork when they're doing a public bid?
Some do, some, I've seen some, yeah. I mean, Core and Main gave a full packet as well.
Mr. Peterson?
What I believe Jill is trying to say is that they're worried about change orders above the listed bid price in there for the extra stuff that was not included on the bid grid. And I think what Commissioner Hart is saying is, doesn't matter whatever paper they put in addition, they're bound by that bid price per Quest. Is that kind of a fair
Right.
understanding of everything here? So if I could guess, Commissioner Hart's going to make a motion to approve HydroCore here in a little bit, not to,
And
play a
this is
betting
just how
game
the
at all.
four of
Well,
us-
first of all, did I answer your question, Commissioner?
It did. I
okay.
have another question,
Okay.
but go ahead.
And I think one of the things that staff raised was just the concern about the extra costs and the likelihood for change orders, which in the best value process was enough reasons to pass them over to go on to the next bidder in the best value process that was
That's correct.
followed. So I think that we're all on the same page, I think, of trying to get the right deal for the ratepayers. I think if I could paraphrase what Commissioner Hart was saying, is he just wants to manage that contract and that bid well with HydroCorp and make sure they know there is no extras.
Correct. And I believe if Attorney Borland could answer us, that we can be very specific in our agreement terms, correct?
So to try and answer your questions, so I agree with Commissioner Hart is you can't rewrite the contract. We've had, unintentionally, but we've fallen into problems before where people have built-in add-ins that inflate the price later. So I don't think that one was through the Quest bidding process, though.
It was not, no.
But my concern is that you're not really getting dollars for dollars. I don't want to get halfway through the contract and then have HydroCorp walk off and we're in a cheese contest too. I guess that's a concern I have. I think there has to be some clarification that, because I agree with Commissioner Hart, you don't get to rewrite the contract the way you want it on your terms. It's either take it or leave it. It's not, and so I understand why the group rejected their bid, because in fact they are trying to rewrite the contract in the midst. So it's a tough one because of the tremendous discrepancy between those two numbers, but I get the feeling that someone just wrote a contract intentionally low to get the bid and then are going to tack on change orders, as General Manager said after.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
So I did review, I went back into the Bills Exchange where this project was advertised. I brought up the specifications, I brought up the cover letter, read through everything, everything's clear. I don't have access to Quest CDN, but it's very clear. You submit your prices, bam, bam, bam. You can't move forward till you complete the bid 100% the way it's supposed to be. So in my mind, they're gonna do the job for the bid, or they can back out of it and lose their 5%. But in addition to that, I reached out to a contractor that was considered bidding it, and we're looking at $470,000 from HydroCorp. We're looking at $1.45 million from Core and Main. And I talked to the contractor that considered bidding it, but was worried about the timeline. And his price, he thought it was about a $600,000 job. So, that's why I'm gonna make a motion to approve it. I don't want people that bid stuff and try to back out of it. I don't get allowed to do that, so that's just the way I feel.
Okay, so you're making a motion for
I'm making a
HydroCorp?
motion to approve it to HydroCorp, yes.
Can
Go ahead.
I apologize, can I clarify your motion, Commissioner Hart? Is it awarding the bid to HydroCorp at 439 with specifically striking the, their supplemental language?
Supplemental language wasn't allowed to be.
I get it, but that's what they had.
That's what I intended.
Yeah.
So quickly, you're gonna find out the result if your motion is that to say, no, you don't get to rewrite it as you state. You get it, that's what you bid, that's what you do. And if they wanna run, then we'll find out quickly if that.
Well, the contract documents were in the form. If they don't sign them and want to revoke their bid, I guess that's fine.
And then we'll just rebid it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have another question that I had for Mr. Peterson, but if you want a second and then open it up to discussion.
I'd prefer a second if we want, I'll second it for discussion, how about that?
Great.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my question was, is there information that commissioners can have on some of these projects that give us like what an average ballpark would be for these types of jobs? Because I really have no context of what a job like this would typically cost. And there's $1 million difference roughly between these two bids, $1 million. On the one before, $500,000. That's too much of a swing, in my opinion, and not having context. So when we're looking at these, is there a go-to source that I should be checking? Is there something that will give an idea? I'm glad you're here and you, Commissioner Hart, and you have some of this experience and, you know, you're familiar with this field. I'm not. So I think we need more information to make an informed decision about really what these would average.
That's a great question. The short answer is I'm sure there is some industry information we can share about what typical AMI costs are. This is at some level, it's a kind of a commodity, you know, in terms of we're not the only city that's done AMI. In fact, we're kind of at the lagging end of this. I don't have that right off the top of my fingers, but something that could help in the future, and we can talk about this more at the working session, is kind of project budget, like how much do we expect for this to come in, which should be informed by that, which we can, share in advance so we're not after the fact looking at such a discrepancy. But $1 million difference between the low and big.
$500,000 on the other one.
And it does show that there's a big swing here. We can share that. Jill, anything you can share off the top of your head?
Unfortunately,
here?
I don't know where we could go for that at
Okay.
this point, but we can certainly take a look at that and find out what we could do, or is there even something where our parameters and our search criteria narrow things down a little bit more too? I mean, I'm sure we have options.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, Luke, when you budgeted for the AMI, was there a dollar number broken down for each one of these particular ones that the commission is taking up tonight? Or do you know yet?
More or less, but I don't have the specifics, front of mind, so.
Can I just ask one question?
Of course.
Sure.
Just so I get clarification, because we're starting to use they and them, so sometimes I wasn't clear on what company we're speaking of. So they that sent in supplemental to you guys was HydroCorp?
Correct, and that was in the Quest bid. So when you upload into Quest, there's documents that are required, and then your bid, and they can include in that whatever they decide to upload. So we had two of our the bigger ones upload full packets that kind of gave their whole spiel of their team, there's previous jobs that they've done, how they were, their specifics, and some data that we were able to view for those. Not all vendors do that.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question, Andy. I may or may not know the answer directly, but if they fill out our bid requirements in Quest, like Commissioner Hart was saying, and they sign, are they just agreeing to our terms, or is there like a tentative based on what they could submit. Are you familiar with?
So it sounds as if you're right, that they are agreeing to our terms, except they specifically added language that will change those terms.
Okay.
Correct.
And that's why they were rejected. If they had just said, as Commissioner Hart said, if they just fill out the numbers and fill it, then you're bound to do it by that number.
Yeah.
They're trying to literally renegotiate by the nature of the language they're putting in.
Okay.
If I could to add, we did have one vendor that took our documentation, uploaded that, signed all the documents within that were required and uploaded that, and then did the bid worksheet. That's it. Had they all done that, it would have been very cut and dry.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, just, go ahead.
Good. So Andy, I got a question. We're in no way bound to their additional language then, right, by this quest bid system?
So I think you're gonna just end up in a cheese contest, because if you don't address the fact that they put additional language in, because that's why your team didn't recommend them. They literally changed the contract and how it will be implemented. That's what they're trying to do. And if so, you accept their bid with that language, I think you've left yourself open. If you pass the bid on the number and say, lose your language, then you'll know sooner or later whether or not they're doing it for $439 or out there not. It's a target shot. So I could just see you're gonna end up in court on the nature of that bid, because they're gonna try to change, and then you're gonna try to block, and are they gonna hold you hostage to get it done under the certain timeline?
So under the motion that was made, that you clarified with Commissioner Hart, it was the number minus the additional language, correct?
That's my understanding.
Mr. Borland wanted to clarify that. I don't think we even had to do that. This is a public bid on Quest CDN. You can't change anything. That's not allowed. I mean, you submit your numbers, you provide your bid bond, and that's your job. You don't get to rewrite specs, you don't get to change anything.
I suppose that defeats the purpose altogether. Yeah.
Well, I've seen that language. It was a kind of a little cover letter about their company with a lot of information, and that was
Yeah, and
part of it.
they kind of submitted it as a scope of work within their packet
So,
for us.
yeah, that, all I care about is that they filled out the bid properly and submitted their bid bond, and if they're low bidder, they should accept the job, but
So,
we'll see.
But on the flip side, and that's why they rejected the bid, because you're trying to change the terms. Clearly by what they've said,
Correct.
because it's an open-ended check for them.
That's how we felt, correct?
Yeah.
So
would it be appropriate to amend the motion to cover ourselves as a commission, accept the bid for the dollar amount here minus their language, and then when it goes back to them, they can accept it or not, and finalize it or not,
So
are we?
Commissioner Hart's point is, the 439 is what it is. We don't care what your other language is. I think
Does any other action then prevent us from some problem down the road legally? If we amend the motion to say, and I
Lose the
understand
language?
lose the language,
I think it helps my opinion is, I think it helps clarify it.
yes.
But that's my opinion, is that it clarifies it, that we're striking your other language, we're taking your number.
And then after this process, they have the opportunity to either say yes or no.
Then we're acknowledging that they can submit language in on these Quest
No,
CDN bids.
Right.
what I'm saying is they have the opportunity to say, we're in agreement with that, or is it a done deal? There is no interaction after this
So
vote?
personally, I mean, I'm not gonna speak for the commission, but I think that opens us up to liability, because we're negotiating a separate contract that we didn't offer to the rest of the contractors.
And that's why
Okay.
you'd normally just
Yeah.
strike this bid.
Yeah.
Even though it's
Okay.
tremendously better for the taxpayers and utility, you just killed the bid because they tried to change the terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the tough one for,
Yep.
because I'm with Commissioner Hart on this one, it's like, that's $1 million.
Yep.
But the last time we got into an add-ons contest, it turned into, well, the sky's the limit, because, and then are they gonna finish the contract? Are we gonna be stuck in some sort of litigation issues and over this? So
You know, if I could weigh in here, commissioners, and I appreciate the discussion back and forth here, it appears that Commissioner Hart's motion covers it. Would you agree that, you know, if they're clear about there's no extra terms, no extra dollars, they'll make that choice? That's how I summarized the conversation.
I'd just like to add in the bidding documents, the contract they have to sign is in there, and it specified everything. It was very clear. They saw that before they bid it. There should be no ambiguity, period. They've seen the contract they need to sign, and they put their bid in.
They did, and they
They
added
did.
language to it.
You can't, well, whatever.
I'm just telling you that they clearly did, otherwise,
Okay.
if they hadn't added the language, Commissioner Hart, then this group would have said, take 439, because that's their bid. They're saying specifically that's not their bid. They've got a hidden agenda. They aren't giving you that number.
I have another question.
Yeah.
On the actual signed document, did they make those specifications and those notations on that? Or did they do it in supplemental materials, like here's our team and those kind of supplemental materials?
That they're allowed to do by the Quest document.
It's a full packet that they
So the
include as
contract
their bid.
itself is the entire submitted documents, everything?
Correct.
Which is contrary to what you believe. Or, I should say contrary to what you believe, but it is amending the bid process, which
They can't.
shouldn't be allowed. I
They
hear you.
can't. And they don't have a leg to stand on, period. I've been through this. I can't get out of that stuff.
So, my second on the motion stands. I trust Commissioner Hart's experience in the field, so. Do we have any more questions or conversation?
Unless you think it helps us in any way, shape, or form to change language, like change the language of the motion. But if it
Well,
doesn't, then we're
no,
gonna,
Commissioner Hart wants that language, so that's
Okay.
the language.
okay,
I'll just say, if in fact the commission passes that, the contract language, which is slightly different, not, because oftentimes you're saying, well, based on the submission you made in that contract language, and that's fairly standard for our contracts. If that's the language, then we bought into the submissions and the additions, and they've changed the contract. So we can't use that language we normally, but your submission of 439, and you don't give them any other language, because if you do, we've accepted their bid, which had the additional language.
Point of clarification, the packet says 46330.
Whatever that number
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure that we're not,
It was ridiculously lower than the
okay,
other.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Just
and
wanna
I
make
have
sure.
I just have to add here, so it just so happens that this morning, I had a water meter installed at my house. It took all of 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't a long process. I can't believe, and they also did an electrical meter, which took less than 5 minutes. So, the fact that there was a lower bidder on electrical that felt way more reasonable, and seeing the time difference in a water meter, I just can't believe that it would cost $1.4 million to do the meters. So I just have to say, they did both of those meters in about 20 minutes in my house this morning. One guy all by himself wearing HPU gear. So that spoke volumes to me, and the numbers that we're seeing just don't add up. So I'm way more comfortable with the lower number on this one. Any other discussion or questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, RFP 20-13, AMI meter installation for gas meters to Core and Main in the amount of $871,175.
And we only had the one bidder that carried through.
Okay.
Chair,
Yep.
make a motion to reject the bid.
A motion by Commissioner Hart to reject the bid.
I'll second for discussion.
We have a second by Commissioner Stokes. Discussion.
Yeah, this bid came in much higher than I thought it would. For those gas meter conversions are pretty straightforward. Keep in mind, Core Main is a supplier. I don't know where they got their price from for doing this stuff. They're not a contractor. So it's disappointing that other people didn't bid it. I think if we go up for rebids and move the deadline to December, and I'll gladly give a list of contractors that would probably bid on this, I'm sure we can do much better.
Okay. Anyone else? More discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to reject that bid. Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I've asked before, but when we have things like this that are at this size, could we get our team to sit up at the table? It's really hard to hear that over there, so if they could sit up there's plenty of spots.
Oh, yeah, up
If
on
we
the
could get them
dais.
to sit up here, it would
Yeah.
be helpful. Thank you very much.
I like that. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to policy and governance. We have item 7A, approve the customer policy for nothing? What's supposed to be
So
there?
there's two policies in here, Commissioner, both related to safety and aspects of metering, more or less. And one, I think, the first one, if I could, Commissioner, is just to approve the customer property access policy, which gives our staff a little more leg to stand on when going to someone's home and getting into the metering area. I'm sure when your meter was replaced, Commissioner Bayless, your basement was completely free of debris and access and was perfect all around there. That's not so the case with everyone else in the city. And so staff was requesting to have a little more clarity on and direction to inform customers about cleanliness, personal safety, as well as just general cleanliness in the space before getting there. So that is why this policy is being recommended. The second policy is also regarding inspections that the gas folks, our gas crews, will be able to charge for general safety inspections required for either permitting. Sometimes before planning and zoning signs off on a permit, they require access by Hibbing Public Utility staff to inspect the gas appliances inside the home for new construction before signing off on a permit completion, as well as any other safety checks that we may be requested to do. The ability to charge for this inspection is something that the gas crew is requesting.
Okay, wishes of the commission?
Can I ask a question?
Yep, go ahead.
Just on that gas service thing, so this is new? It's not
Correct.
currently open. And then, so this isn't saying that we are just gonna show up and say, hey, we're gonna inspect your service and we're gonna charge you $100 for it?
That's correct, yeah.
So-
This isn't our choosing, this is when we are requested either by the homeowner or city planning and zoning to inspect a property before signing off on inspection.
What if, I don't know what our current policy is, what if somebody calls in and says they smell gas? Do we go there to check that for them, or how does that get addressed?
Currently, we do, out of a public safety concern, and I believe that we would still continue to do that for free of charge. This is more for a new appliance or a new system that's installed.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
why can planning and zoning trigger an inspection?
I believe they are signing off on the building permits. So it's related to the building permit process.
So the local building inspector can call for a inspection of the gas service?
From my understanding, if somebody pulls an appliance, gets a new appliance that they don't have currently, so if you switch from electric stove to a gas stove, there's a slight permit required on it, and in order to sign off on the permit, and Jill, perhaps you could fill in here as well. This is
Thank you
where
again.
this is coming from.
So Paul and I got together, these are usually permits, from my understanding, that the city works with the homeowner, we do the inspection, and then the city pulls the permit and signs off on it. So it's purely request through that avenue. It's not normally somebody would just call up and say, I need an appliance inspection or something to that effect. It's coming from the city, and there's, it's local zoning or whatnot, but they rely on us to do the gas inspection, being we have our gas crew.
And that request comes from Pat Green?
I believe that's who it is, and I believe Attorney Borland gave us some language on liabilities in regards to that when we researched a little bit. And that's where this is coming from.
Okay.
So if somebody gets a new gas service and they pay for that, and then they're gonna pay another $100?
I am not sure what the city charges them other than the permit fee. But we're just trying to recoup our crew's time for doing the inspection.
You know, if I could, commissioners, I might recommend we table this until we can discuss it at a working session. So,
And if I could just clarify on the previous one, in yellow is what's new language, the non-yellow is original language, so we were just adding to it. If I could clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Do you have a motion to table then?
We don't yet.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion in a second. And do we have to vote on the table, or it just gets tabled?
You can't discuss, you need to vote.
We need to vote, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is tabled. Thank you. Okay, let's see.
And Chair,
Yes.
Luke, if we're gonna have that discussion on the next item, I will put in the packet the initial question that Mr. Plumbaum floated to me, and then my response, so the
Okay.
commission can have that.
Okay, and we are on to item 7B, correct? Approve internal and external posting and backfill biomass technician position. Mr. Peterson?
yes, commissioners, I apologize on Kendra's behalf. She wasn't able to make it tonight, but she did trust me that I'd be able to carry this over the finish line, and we'll see how well that happens afterwards here. But this is to approve both internal and external posting for the biomass technicians. There is currently 2 vacant positions due to recently reallocated staff or repositioned staff that have vacated the biomass technician role, and this is to seek approval to go out both externally and internally because this is more of an entry-level position, and it's not super likely that an internal candidate would apply to it. Given that, of course, we would give preference to that internal candidate, but this just does accelerate the recruiting process for what's likely to be an outside position. And because of the time and the training ladder associated with the firing line, as this is the entry-level position to the firing line, Kendra is recommending it be approved.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes,
Support.
support by Commissioner Sandsted. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7C, request approval to backfill vacant accounting coordinator position.
Thank you, Commissioner Bayless. If you recall, in December of 2023, we had moved the person that was in the accounting coordinator position away from that role over to a safety and human resources position. And then we awarded this accounting, we then went out external and awarded the position to somebody externally in March of last year, and that did not that did not materialize as we had hoped with that external hire coming in. And we've been holding off on this, getting that position filled. Meanwhile, the person that was doing this originally in December of 2024 is still doing this position right now, and we need to get that person onto their other job and go out and get this position externally filled. So we are recommending that this position get filled.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Sandsted, supported by Commissioner Stokes. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see. We are on to new business. Did we have any ads in new business? Just old business, right? Correct. We'll move to old business. Mr. Borland on the summary of the general manager's review.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the Commission, on December 16th, 2025, the Commission met in closed session to review the performance of Luke Peterson in his role as General Manager. The Commission reviewed goals previously set by the General Manager and how he has proceeded to this point. The Commission agreed to review Mr. Peterson's performance in the first quarter of 2026 with those goals refined. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I was going to ask, do we need to make another item here to rebid? Do we need to vote to rebid the one that we, is that an action item we can take up now? Or do we have to?
To rebid the one that was rejected through Chair
Yes.
Commissioner Hart's motion?
Yeah.
You rejected those bids.
I'm okay with rebidding, but I believe the specifications need to be changed and a few other things.
Would you prefer we just wait till the next?
I think we could do it, make the motion now with the understanding the specifications will be changed.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to rebid, and it was the gas meter AMI installation, with the prerequisite that we adjust any, or make any modifications to the process that we need to, right? Does that suffice?
Your completion
Good,
date, wasn't it?
I would support that.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have nothing else. I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, supported by Commissioner Sandsted. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is closed.